Hey, welcome to Midweek at 3 at 1 post-Easter. We hope you had a great Easter. We hope that you were with us either in person or online. You know, we are at that time of year. It was 80-some degrees already for today, and people are beginning to think, oh, what do I do to plan for vacation? What do I do to plan to get ready to do all the things I want? Or maybe you're getting your beach body or whatever it is that you're doing. It reminded me of how we come up with good habits, creating good habits. And now that we have celebrated at Easter, that's where we are. How do we keep Easter growing? How do we stay a people of the resurrection? Well, there's a pastor named Derwin Gray, and he is part of the media center that we subscribe to at our parish. If you're part of, you have access to, called Right Now Media. And Derwin says there are holy habits, and there are things that we have to do to create our habits that set us apart from others and put us in line with God. And you know, and there's going to be 4 of them. So there's 4 weeks. You get it one every week. And tonight, the first one, he says, is to make peace in a world of conflict. Now, the first thing that he does is everybody goes, oh, peace means, okay, I never speak out, I never say, no, that is not what making peace is. In fact, making peace, for those of us who maybe were raised in a family where children were seen and not heard, and there was things that, we just had to be quiet. You never talked about anything bad at Thanksgiving and Christmas, and then it just built up, and it built up, and it built up. Sooner or later, it's coming out. Sooner or later, it's coming out. So, Pastor Gray says this. He says this whole idea of making peace in a world of conflicts. He uses a quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson, which I thought was interesting. Sow a thought, reap a habit. Sow a habit, reap a character. Sow a character, reap a destiny. This idea of a holy habit is what sets us apart. So what is that? It is this. Holy habits are intentional, first and foremost, intentional, Jesus-centered rhythms and decisions empowered by the Holy Spirit that showcase our allegiances to God and His church and His mission of reconciliation. Now, see, this is the one that we get into, and it takes us to Matthew in chapter 5 and verse 9. That would be in the Beatitudes. Blessed are the peacemakers. Blessed means happy, and peacemaking is not, as I already said, peacekeeping. Sometimes being a peacemaker means calling out the evil and setting yourself apart wholly for God. Jesus did not always keep the peace, but He was always a peacemaker. You see, because as a peacemaker, you enter conflict with God alongside, with the good news of Jesus in you, and you offer the same grace to the person with whom you disagree as Jesus offers to each of us. Unfortunately, I would dare say that we are at the point in the church, particularly, even the church maybe as much as anybody, where we've forgotten how to offer grace. As soon as we realize that we have a theological difference with someone in the church, they are awful, we hate them, they are lowlifes, they are terrible. And I don't remember Jesus ever going into a conflict doing that. You see, being a peacemaker means you're going to go in with grace, but it doesn't mean you're going to walk out always agreeing. It means at some point you may simply go, we need to go separate ways on this. But I will not change because this is what the message of God says. You see, it is, it is more important that we care about honoring God than about getting our own way. For those of us who are married, we probably learned that, but we probably don't always practice it. We sometimes always want to win. And if we win, and that's our only goal, then we weren't going about it as a peacemaker. So there's a couple of things. You're going to care more about honoring God than about getting your own way. You're going to talk to folks. Talk to them, not at them, or worse yet, talk about them. Going out and say, well, they just said, and that becomes the sin of gossip. And the last one is don't blame, explain. You can't blame them. They're there. Your only hope is to explain to them, for them to see the grace of Jesus Christ and come into that understanding. That's up to the Holy Spirit. We have to honor Jesus. We have to be specific about what we're working through, meaning some of us may need to take a day or two to work through our reconciliation talk before we just spout it out. Wouldn't it be nice if the world once again said, let's go to the Christians and ask them to help moderate this, because they have always shown they know how to resolve conflict. Unfortunately, I think we've lost the habit of being the peacemakers, and we're more concerned about being peacekeepers and going along to get along. That's habit number 1. See you next week for holy habit number 2. Good night.